Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really wanna know.
Well, it definitely feels like spring today. It's in the 50s, so what better way to spend our spring day than an end of March garden tour. I'm going to take you around and show you what we have planted so far, and we can also point out the spaces where we are planning on putting stuff this spring. So let's go. Okay, so in this first bed, we have a few things that we've planted already, and we will be succession planting this bed until our potatoes come in the later spring. So down here, I have a row of beets that have not sprouted yet, but hopefully they will fairly soon. Here I have two types of bok choy, which is a type of Asian green, and it's got a white base and the tops of the leaves are a green color. And down from the bok choy, I've planted some Merlot lettuce, just two little rows, and I'll be succession planting that as well. Right after that, we have two types of mustard greens, and some of them have started to germinate, which is great. I planted those less than a week ago, so it's awesome that they're still germinating. Down here on the ends, on the edges of these beds, we have two types of radishes, French breakfast and purple plum radishes, which I am seeing that the French breakfast and the purple plum are germinating, which is awesome because we actually had a freeze last night, and we're planning on having a couple more freezes this week, but that tells me that the row covers that I put on all of the beds have been working fine, which is awesome. In this bed, I'm really excited because I'm hoping to have a colorful array of veggies in here. I have two types of bok choy, the same two types that were in the first bed, and then they are interplanted with more Merlot lettuce, so a purpley color, and butter crunch lettuce, so a lighter green color. And I think it's gonna just create a beautiful rainbow of veggies. So in this long back row, I have not planted much. There are some onions that actually overwintered and they're growing again, so I'm just going to leave them and see if they actually bulb up this spring. And then I planted two rows of purple kohlrabi, which is another, it's kind of like an oversized purple turnip or something like that. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's another spring crop that sort of bulbs up and then you eat the bulb of the vegetable. And they are starting to pop up as well. They actually popped up, I want to say 3 or 4 days after I planted them, so they had a really quick germination rate. In this bed off to the side here, I planted one whole side with spinach, and we're gonna use that to pre-make some meals and throw into our salads. And then I actually, I haven't started my cauliflower yet this spring, and I'm realizing I probably should have started it like 4 weeks ago. So I just bought some at the store, and I'm gonna do a little comparison to see. I'm going to pre-sow cauliflower tonight, and then we'll see how it compares, whether or not it finishes growing in time before it gets too hot, compared to the store-bought cauliflower that was probably started, I'm guessing, 6 weeks ago. So that will be a good comparison to see for future years on if I should even attempt to plant cauliflower in the spring, or if I should just leave it for a spring or a fall crop. So further down here, if you peek under the row fabric, I have two Brussels sprout plants planted. They're Long Island Brussels sprouts. They were just extras that I had and I didn't want them to go to waste, so I planted them there. This 12-foot row right here has 2 rows of leeks and peppermint celery. So peppermint celery is just like regular celery, except for the stalks of the celery are red and white, which is really cool. So hopefully they'll mature in time before it gets too hot, and we'll have some variegated celery to eat. So I must note that during the fall I planted radishes and carrots in here, and even though they didn't germinate in the fall, they're germinating now. So I've got a bunch of unwanted radishes and carrots in this bed, but I'm just gonna leave them and let them do their thing. So maybe we'll get some extra of those. And then this is my glorious bed of onions. I have I have 4 types of onions planted in here. One is the red Creole onion that yet again has horrible germination rate. This is my 3rd year trying to start this variety and it just does not do well for me, so I'm not going to try it again in the future. But we do have like 6 red Creole onions, so maybe they'll mature, maybe not, we'll see. Then we have candy onions, which is a sweet variety, Walla Walla onions, which is also a sweet variety, and Struttgarter onions, which is a storage variety that will store in the summer and possibly chop up and freeze to use throughout the year. We have used up all of our onions that I pre-chopped and put in the freezer in the fall, so I'm glad to have more homegrown onions soon. And then at the very end of this bed, we have 2 succession plantings of arugula. I love arugula, but I don't love a lot of it in my salad, so I just am doing a small area. In this bed, I can flip it up for you. I'm trying to keep it covered to keep any insects out, because these plants in here are very prone to insect damage. They're the insects' favorites. So I have planted a few things in here. Actually, this whole bed is full, basically, to be honest. Down here, I planted 2 types of lettuce, Little Jim and Tom's Thumb lettuce. These are my tall Utah celery, so it's your standard celery that you would use. I have a row of Swiss chard that I planted a few days ago. It hasn't germinated just yet, but I'll do a succession planting of that as well. These guys down here are my Brussels sprouts, so my main spot where I wanted to grow Brussels sprouts. They look really good, so that makes me excited. The bugs just love them though. I have to keep them covered with the row fabric at all times. In between the Brussels sprouts, I have different varieties of kale, lettuce, and more types of Swiss chard kind of planted in between them. Then this spot right behind me just has a bunch of carrots planted. Scarlet Nant carrots. And then I'll open this for you. So in this bed, this is going to be my cabbage bed for the spring. I have red express cabbage and red acre cabbage. I also have Katrina cabbage and I think Brunswick cabbage that's inside and started. They're just too small to plant out here. Then this whole row down here is more Scarlet Nant carrots, and we've got our all-time favorite Rocky Top lettuce salad variety planted right here. That's sprouted, and I will be planting more here soon. Along with all of our veggies, I've planted a lot of flowers, and they will be filling these like flower boxes in front of all of the beds, which I'm really excited about, to have flowers in our vegetable garden. We have snapdragons, lots of herbs, sweet alyssum. I'll be putting marigolds in here, and yeah, just some other flowers that I can't think of off the top of my head. But our whole basement is full of seedlings right now. So that's it for our March vegetable garden tour. We will have a lot more growing later in the spring, and we'll kind of update you guys as we go along. But thank you for joining us today, and go ahead and give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling.
Pre-sow cold, or when a pre-sow, I cannot speak. There's a big truck going by. Let's wait for this beeping to stop. I have to keep